Hello, I'm Dr. Hari Lamba, and I bring to you today global solutions to climate change through brighter climate futures, a global energy, climate, and ecosystem transformation. This provides you with a summary of what I am proposing. We can have a climate transformation, and the goal by 2050 is to ensure that the global average temperature rise is no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The greenhouse gas emissions have to be brought down. Carbon dioxide have to be brought down to zero, essentially 100%. Methane emissions have to be brought down by 50%, and nitrous oxide gas emissions have to be brought down by 25%. As per the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, we have to do this in order to keep the earth from getting too hot. Now, to give you a snapshot of global energy and emissions as of 2017, which is similar to what we have today in 2020, energy use was 13,972 million tons of oil equivalent, which is taking all the energy sources and making it equivalent to oil. Fossil fuels were still at 81%, which is similar to what we have today. We are very heavily dependent on fossil fuels. Coal 27%, oil 32%, natural gas 22%, renewables only 10% today. Carbon dioxide emissions as of 2017 were 32.6 billion metric tons. They have gone up, they're closer to 36 billion metric tons today in 2020. Other plans project 25 to 50% fossil fuel use by 2050. That's not a practical plan. Emissions need to be down to zero by 2050. So the energy transformation I'm talking about by 2050, the first thing to note is that all of the world's energy for 2017 actually, can be produced by solar panels on less than 1% of the Earth's land area. Less than 1% can produce all our energy needs of solar panels. That means if we use solar panels, we can have plenty of renewable energy for expanding needs. We can replace fossil fuels with renewable energy. We can electrify everything possible and expand our transmission electric lines. We can also do that renewable energy by locating it like solar energy close to consumption sites and hence minimize the expansion of our transmission lines. We can store renewable energy in batteries. We can store renewable energy in hydrogen and ammonia, which are non-carbon fuels, which will store renewable energy, and you can reuse them just like you do gasoline and diesel today. We can have solar electric. I've come up with the concept of solar electric hydrogen highways that basically make our highways totally dependent on solar energy or hydrogen produced from solar energy. I have detailed plans for the global level, for the United States, for California, for China, India, and the European Union, which was 28 nations, now it's 27 nations. The global energy and emissions plan that I have come up with for 2050, the thing to note is that the energy use expands by 55%, which is similar to what the International Energy Agency projects, which will happen if we continue what we're doing today. So I'm talking about an expansion of energy use, not a contraction. So that's not a question of doing without, it's a question of doing things differently. Fossil fuels will be down to 6%, solar energy will be up to 31%, wind energy up 15%, up to the maximum wind potential of the planet, renewable storage fuels up to 9%, which is the fuels that store renewable energy and like hydrogen and ammonia and can then be used, and energy efficiency up at 25%. Even if we take energy efficiency at 25%, the net energy use, that means how much we actually use in energy, will be more than what we consume today. Carbon dioxide emissions due to fossil fuels will be down to 6% of what we are doing today. There will be I'm proposing a massive expansion of carbon sinks, absorb carbon and reverse the extinction of the species. It'll make a start towards that. Green carbon, which you're all familiar with, is global afforestation, carbon absorbed by trees. I'm proposing adding 1 billion hectares, which is a very large area, to be added to the planet. Blue carbon is something people have started talking about for coastal ecosystems. I'm proposing that the entire global non-ice coastline have expanded ecosystems. I have used the word brown carbon for a transformed agriculture, or regenerative and organic agriculture where the soil can absorb more carbon, and the remaining carbon emissions that we talked about from fossil fuels can then be absorbed by these 3 carbon sinks. Let's make it clear, it'll take some time for these sinks to mature, and we shouldn't immediately rely on them for very large numbers of carbon absorption. Then I have an economic transformation that is pretty comprehensive, pretty complete. It's a global industrial transformation, excellent for recovery after COVID-19, but actually it goes the full 30 years from now till the year 2050. And so it's much more than a recovery. It's pro-employment and pro-environment. It will involve a just transition for fossil fuel workers and fossil fuel countries and nations, energy democracy, and US and global Green New Deals. It includes practical implementation of the US Green New Deal. There's 14 mobilization clauses that are there in the legislation, this particular for the United States, and this particular plan practically implements those global, the Green New Deal. And so this will make it beneficial for everyone. Then I have global disaster risk reduction. Even with a temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius, we will still need to prepare for disasters, because as we know today, even as of 2020, the disasters are worsening due to climate change. So we have to minimize the damage due to wildfires, hurricanes or typhoons, coastal storms, tornadoes, catastrophic floods, landslides, heat waves, droughts. We have to be preparing for these disasters before, during, and after. We have to prepare, we have to survive them, and then we have to build better back. We must have a strengthened global organization. This can be part of the UNFCCC, which is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the organization set up to implement the Global Warming Treaty in 1992. It's essential for success that it be able to negotiate, plan, organize, schedule, coordinate, fund, and implement this entire process. So we must have a strengthened global organization, and the major nations of the world must enable and empower this to happen in a timely fashion. I have established a website for this whole process called brighterclimatefutures.com. It'll be used as a key place for communication and to get your ideas, and as an organizing point for action campaigns, and to evolve the plan. Also, there's a Facebook page, and on YouTube you'll find both information and videos. If you type in Brighter Climate Futures, you'll find those pieces of information, or the Facebook page. For all this process, I've written a very detailed transformation plan in the book, which is called Brighter Climate Futures, a Global Energy, Climate and Ecosystem Transformation by Dr. Lamba, that's myself. This has been published by Regent Press. You can order it from Regent Press, or from Amazon, or from a bookstore, or as an ebook if you have a computer and tablet and want to read it on a computer. What you can do is reduce your carbon footprint and become active in local organizations, and so that you can apply pressure at the local, national and global levels, so that the leaders accept and implement such a plan. Thank you.